Now we're live.
There you go.
Good morning.
Isn't it almost afternoon? Not
Good
quite.
almost morning, afternoon. This is Park Bench Poetry. I'm here with my best friend Sam Wetz.
Hey, y'all.
Yay. This episode's just going to be the pilot, us kind of just talking about what this is going to be, what we're going to do, and how you're going to enjoy it, pretty much. So what is this podcast about? So, it's called Park Bench Poetry. So if you didn't know already, it's going to have poetry in it. And it's just shocker. If you weren't surprised. So it's going to be like the written word of all forms of poetry, and we're going to try to make it, we're going to go back to, we're going to do past, present, future poetry, and that includes, poems, maybe song lyrics, rap, limericks, haikus, anything along those lines. And if you ever have anything you'd like us to read, feel free to DM me somewhere and we'll put it in. We'll also be theming each podcast with a different theme from the poems. So our first one will be Loved and Lost. And I honestly haven't picked my poem yet for that one. So I'm glad we're doing the pilot first. And,
there you go.
Yeah. And the goal here is to open the eyes for the people who have maybe never had an interest in poetry before. And I know most people have, especially our age. We're 26 years old and younger. And it's not really something that gets, touched on in school anymore, or when you do, it's something you just brush over, not something you think about later on. It's just to kind of get through the day, try to get an A on that paper. And it's also an infrequently talked about art form as well, which I'm hoping to make it more accessible to everybody. So we are streaming this. I'm streaming live on Twitch. This will be up on YouTube. And then it'll also be going up on the podcast app called Anchor. And then it's going to get approved for Spotify as well. Once we get a few episodes in, they'll be like, oh yeah, this is what this is about. So yeah, it's something for new people discovering poetry, and also something for avid poetry readers to enjoy as well. How I even thought of this, I've been listening to a podcast by Joshua Sass, who, if you don't know who it is, if you've ever watched the show Gallivant on Netflix, which you absolutely should if you haven't, because it's a medieval comedy musical. So
perfect.
Yeah, there's nothing better. And Joshua Sass started The Poet's Voice, which is a beautiful podcast, and he's English, so I don't have that amazing British voice like he does, but I'll do my best. But he felt the same way, that poetry is not accessible as it once was, and he himself is a poet, and his father was a poet, so that's all he posts on like his Instagram and art. And I just absolutely adore this man, and maybe he'll see this and he'll want to hop in one day, and he stopped doing it after the quarantine, after COVID. But yeah, it's, if it's poetry where people don't understand, especially for today where people aren't really as educated, it's gonna be pointless. So bringing poems to people that are entertaining and something that is going to stay with you, like a good song, like after you read it, you're still going to think about it later. Whereas like most poems today are mainly used for funerals and weddings and other special occasions, and that's all you use them for, which isn't true. They can there's so many, and there's so many beautiful ones and so many funny ones that most people don't even realize are out there. So I hope you love it. Hope you tell your friends about it. I'm really going to enjoy doing this. This is filling a void for me that was lost when Joshua Sass stopped his podcast. So without further ado, Sam and I are going to just do a little intro on each other, tell us our backgrounds, and we've actually written each other's biographies, and we haven't...
Hard to talk about yourself, you know?
Yeah, and we also haven't read them. So this is the first time we'll be hearing our own biographies written by the other person. So Sam, would you like to go first?
You want me to read yours first?
Yeah, because I think mine's going to be a little different, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Oh no. What if I was too mean?
Oh,
no.
I'll be able to handle it, I hope. I know you're doing it with love.
only the most love.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Noelle, affectionately known as Nona to her friends, is a Florida native and free spirit. When she's not streaming, Noelle can be found dancing or cooking or running away from society to hide at the drive-in. Her Italian roots are evident in her excellent taste in food, clothes, and wine, and that she never starts new projects on a Tuesday. She's also an avid equestrian and a great lover of musicals, especially Phantom of the Opera.
Awesome.
Yep.
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 Yeah, you did it.
Met and bonded. I was nice about it.
Yeah. So Sam and I met how many years ago now?
I think it's 8.5.
Oh, whatever.
Actually, I think it's 8 exactly, because didn't we meet in March, senior year?
Yes. We met before school even started.
At Scholars Weekend.
Oh my God.
At Ye Old Florida Southern.
Oh my God. That's insane.
I know.
Yeah, we went, it was Scholars Weekend, and Sam and I were sitting in like that group icebreaker circle, and they're just like, go around and say what your favorite movie is. And I said Fan of the Opera, and then it got around to her, and she also said Fan of the Opera. And I was like, weird. Or no. I said Benjamin Button. You said Phantom. I didn't say Phantom.
Right.
Yeah. But I was like, I also really flip and enjoy Phantom of the Opera, but I was going to feel too embarrassed to say that because I was starting college and I wanted to be kind of cool.
I have no cool vibes.
Yeah.
This is what you get.
You get what you get.
Yep.
But then after the icebreaker was over, I walked up to her bravely and... Oh, wait, did you walk up to me? Am I doing this backwards?
No, you came up to me as we were going down the stairs out of the cafeteria.
Yes. And I was like, how many times have you seen Phantom? And she goes, all the way through or just skipping to the songs. And that was it. Like...
It was love at first sight. We were email pen pals all summer. Yes,
it was love at first sight. And we've grown so much since we first met each other. Like... changed in good ways. I was definitely more introverted and quiet and shy and very naive, and now I can say that's about the opposite.
And I would like to think that I've somewhat grown a filter since then.
You've definitely grown a filter. Definitely I don't know, like come out of your shell in a good way. Like there's so many like good parts to you, you know? Or maybe when I first met you, I'd be like, I'd just have Sam like, for a cup of tea every so often. Or like now I'd like want to hang out with you a lot more.
Yeah, you're stuck with me now. Yeah. Apparently after 7 years, that person's in your life for the rest of your life. So you got me, boo.
Oh, okay.
This is it.
Is that set in stone?
Yeah, you can't be rid of me now.
Oh, okay.
Abandoned ship.
Oh, shoot. Good. Did I just start a podcast with you? Awkward.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Awkward turtle.
No. All right, you ready to hear your bio I wrote for you?
I am. I'm touched and afraid.
Yes, you should be a little afraid. Just because that there is a rhyme scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started writing the first line. This took me 5 minutes to write, by the way. So I'm very impressed with myself. And I wrote the first line, and the first line rhymed. And I was like, am I about to? No, this is a wonderful opportunity. I did it by accident. All right. So this is a biography for Sam. I was about to say your last name, but I don't know if you want that said yet.
I don't care.
For Sam. Okay. Sam is a tall young lass who spends her days with her cats. She indeed has too many, but will soon add more as time grows heavy. We fell in love the first day of university, she majoring in literature, and I biology. Now she takes care of hundreds of plants, brewing spells, charms, and enchantments. In her house, so vast and brown, she does her makeup and lays around. Work is a course for her to take, an environmentalist for goodness sake. But at the end of the day, when she grows weary, she gives me a ring, and all again is cheery. And that's it.
She does love me.
Does that not like accurately describe you though?
Yes. Do I lounge around all day as much as I possibly can? Absolutely. Am I currently sitting in my bed right now? You bet.
Yes, I'm in my robe and slippers at the moment, and I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say I'm naked.
It's like, well, I'm not wearing a bra.
These are
underneath my soccer jersey.
These are actually naked podcasts, and you
100%.
And you can't prove different.
Fully nude.
So. Yeah, it is breezy in here. I think I need to turn the AC up a bit. So Sam, what was your interest in poetry? Like why did you say yes to me when I came to you?
Because I can never say no to you.
Oh.
1, 2, I used to write a lot of poetry when I was younger. I don't do it so much anymore. Now I do kind of a free-form prose mostly. But I grew up with, this is going to sound really pretentious, Shakespeare
Oh my
and
God.
Edgar Allan Poe. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm
Wow.
really sorry. I know, it's bad. But it was always like there were plays on words and there were things hidden in a poetry. And like you said, it's not as accessible today as it used to be. But back in the day, now that Shakespeare's highbrow now.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't used to be. Like, people who didn't read used to go to the plays and listen to Shakespeare for entertainment. Like, the groundlings, the people that would sit on the floor of the theater, people that weren't wealthy enough to afford, like, box seating.
They're called groundlings?
They were called groundlings.
That sounds like something out of The Witcher.
Right? So, they used to, like, throw things at actors on stage, and like there are always characters in Shakespeare plays that have no other purpose than to entertain the groundlings, like the nurse in Romeo and Juliet. Like the line, "You'll fall backwards when you have more sense," is about her falling on her back when she's ready to become sexually active. Oh, yeah. There's things they don't tell you freshman year of high school when you're reading Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, my
That's
God.
one of them. But it's things like that, Shakespeare didn't used to be highbrow. Charles Dickens used to sell all of his stuff by the word. He was the most popular author of his time. So making literature more accessible to people, making poetry more accessible to people, I mean, we see how important it is. We have poets at our inaugurations, and it's such a beautiful thing that we can express ourselves with the written word. And that's always been really near and dear to me, especially as a writer. So
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to like say yes, like gush about people writing. It's my favorite thing to do anyway.
Yeah, and I think too, like so many people don't know about a lot of the comedy poetry, and that Shakespeare did a lot of comedy poetry because he was an entertainer. Like, he was writing plays to entertain people, to make, to make his own money. And I think most people think it's all like very posh, words you can't understand poetry. And I think this is why we're going to make a really good team, because you did study lit in college and you can see things more in depth. Whereas I kind of see things like, that sounded pretty. This makes me feel really emotional inside. and
I'm like, that comma's there for a reason.
Right. You'd be like, no, Noelle, that's not even what it means. And I'll be like, that's what it means to me. Like,
and that's the thing about art, is it is subjective. Like,
right.
I could write an essay in college and be like, and this is what it means, and it was complete BS, and my professor would be like, 94. Because you can't prove different.
Right. That's not fair.
That's right. Hey, but you sciencey people have to like write in passive voice, and
oh my
honestly,
God,
that's probably worse.
It really is. And I'm definitely more along the lines of, like, I'm not really mathematically thinking where there's just one answer to something, right?
Right.
I'd be like, well, it could be 2 if I didn't subtract the 1,
Right.
But I did because, versus like, for writing, you can dissect things in your own point of view. There's not just one answer. And I actually prefer that, where a lot of other people prefer the one answer. And it's like, well, you can't be wrong if there's one answer. And I'm like, well, I can't be wrong if there's more than one answer either.
Right.
So I definitely prefer that.
Yeah. So why, other than to fill a void, did you want to do this poetry podcast? Like, what really brought you into poetry?
Well, I've always loved music, right? My whole life, loved music. Been singing my whole life. And when you start to learn a song, especially in chorus, when it's like a lot of classical and your, instructor picks out songs for you and the rest of your class, you start learning the lyrics first. And then the music kind of later, or virtually at the same time. But you're reading those lyrics over and over and over again. Because one of the most important things to do when you're singing, especially the opera and the jazz that I've gotten to sing, been so grateful for that I've had this voice, is you have to sing from feel. And that's where you hear a song and it really like gets inside of you, and you feel the goosebumps, and you feel like you're understanding and feeling the same thing the vocalist is singing to you. And when you understand the lyrics that much, they start like resonating with you. Like, now that's how I think now, is I'll think in song lyrics. And I'll say quotes of songs all the time, and then I'll put like, Beatles at the end of that, so people know where I'm getting my quote from. And the songs are poetry. Most of them rhyme, first of all. And then after that, like, started writing songs in between there. I'm not very good. Everything sounds very cheesy. And with writing songs, that's how they come out. They come out as poems, and then I usually add the music to it later. It's normally not the other way around. So I started writing poetry that way, and then I started getting more curious about, other poetry. And, in school we always learned about Robert Frost, who is beautiful. And then through then I've just picked up random books along the way. I'll go in libraries just looking for things, or bookstores, and I'll flip through a poetry book and I'm like, oh, this is funny. Or, wow, these are really beautiful love poems, because I'm a hopeless romantic. And I'll pick it. Yeah. Hopeless.
Yeah, this podcast is going to get real sappy at times. Brace yourselves.
It will be sappy. It will be silly. It's going to be every color of the rainbow. And it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, so then when I found Joshua Sass's podcast, and please, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to a couple episodes, because he really picks beautiful poems and funny poems, and he does break them down easily for you to understand and makes you want to go back and read it again. So I would like to do the same thing for everybody else, and hopefully they get inspired as much as I have, you know? So I'm very excited for this. This is filling my void.
Yeah. And it's going to be really fun. And then, like, going through, if we do some of the older poems where the language maybe isn't as modern as it is today, we'll break it down and talk about it, and probably provide links.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So there is, you can hop in my Discord channel, and then I will be posting links to every poem that we do on here through Discord, and also on Twitter as well. I'll probably do that too.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to add, Sam, before we close?
Just that I am super, super stoked to nerd out publicly.
Right?
I'm down for this.
I'm very excited for this, and I'm surprised it's taking me this long to do a podcast or something along this lines, because, you know, my dad has been in radio my whole life, and he's got the radio voice just like this, you know. He is Russ Morley in the morning. So it's in there somewhere. So it's gonna be funny when he finds this.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
Think about that.
Right?
It's like, Mom and Dad, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wish I could do like music and DJ that way. I was looking that up, but everything's copywritten. I'd have to like work for a station. But anyway, so that's all. That's what led us here. We're gonna do our very best. It's gonna be very raw. Again, this is live on Twitch. It will also be up on YouTube, the Anchor app, and then that will be going to Spotify eventually, because why wouldn't they pick us up? I don't see why. Two very lovely ladies who are naked doing poetry.
And accomplished. Our brains are even sexier.
Right? Like, we're kind of smart sometimes.
I mean, like, just a little.
Just a little bit smarticles. All right. Well, my name is Noelle, and this is Sam, and thank you for listening to Park Bench Poetry.
Yes, thank you very much. We'll be back soon.